Today, I'm talking with Shauno Isomura, a music composer and violinist from New Zealand. Shauno, thank you for joining.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
So, why don't we start off with what projects are you working on right now?
Um, so I've been working on a couple of projects. One of them is Godchild Chronicles, with Noriyuki Iwadare and a few other guest composers as well. And also Catharsis, which is another video game that was announced in Tokyo Game Show last year. And then another one, we don't have the title yet. It's like a steampunk action adventure game. But yeah, there's no title for that one yet. So those three, yeah.
So, why don't we start with Godchard? How did you get involved there and meet that team?
Yeah, that's a funny thing. So the director, uh, Todd, he was my Instagram friend. We kind of met, I think, on Instagram just before COVID or something like that. And then we kind of connected with the Luna games, the Luna and Grandia games. We talked about that, and we were just purely friends. And then one day, he contacted me, and he said, "Actually, I'm going to try to make a game. Do you want to make some music for it?" And the funny thing is that I had never composed properly before. So the only composition I really did was, those high school papers. And then I told him that, and then I said I have never, composed properly before. And he's like, "Oh, just have a go." I was like, for a moment, I had to have a think about it. I was like, "Oh, should I actually take this? Should I do it?" But then just like, "Oh, just give it a go." Because the thing is that my main, what I've been doing for this my whole life is violin. So I started violin when I was 8. Started piano when I was 7. But then the reason I started violin was to actually compose music with the violin. So then I remembered that. Then I was like, okay, might be my opportunity to give this a go. So that's kind of how it started. So we're just Instagram friends. Just asked me that, casually if we wanted to compose, and then we started, and that's where it all started with the composing.
Interesting. How has that transition been for you from performer to composer?
Yeah, I mean, it's been hard to juggle the two things because I'm also teaching at the same time. So just seeing, you know, how much of what I can do during the day, sort of things. Because at the moment, I try to do the three things at the same time. But yeah, but the composing has kind of opened up a whole new kind of perspective in music, how to listen to music and things like that. It's been quite a interesting process going through, yeah, the composing and learning how to do it and everything like that.
So I was curious how you're splitting your time. So it sounds like you're doing the performing and the teaching full time, and then the composing is almost a secondary thing.
It was, but then I want to, because I'm really passionate about composing, so I really want to make the ratio a little bit different. So I recently kind of tried to flip it a little bit, so more on composing, starting to get a little bit less on teaching as we go through, and then composing and performance will be like my major, and then um, teaching here and there. That's the goal at the moment. So we're just in a transition at the moment.
You mentioned a few other projects, and I saw you had even more on your website. How do you find jobs for composing?
Um, I think some of those ones, I think I got contacted. Like they were not, Instagram friends. So that happens a lot. And the other ones, I actually contacted them. So maybe let's say more than half of my work, I think I saw like a Twitter post of like developers, posting videos of their games, and then it had no audio on it. And then I made sure I looked through all of their posts so that they don't have a composer. I'm like, okay, do I like this music? Do I think I can, you know, um, offer something that they like. And if everything kind of matches, then I just write a piece of music for that one. I put it on the video and then I send it, and then just see what they think. It was like, oh, do you like it? Do you like it or not? And then if they like it, then it just kept going like that. So yeah, yeah. So I think the two games that I'm working on, except for Godshot at the moment, they're both ones that I sent music from my side. Yeah.
Awesome. So social media is at the heart of how you're finding and receiving
Yeah,
work,
yeah,
huh?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. So, out of all the projects that you're working on so far and have worked on, is there one that stands out as your favorite?
It's very hard to say. It's hard to say. The Godchild one definitely is very close to me because it's of course it's the first one, so the development's also very long, and then composing together with Noriyuki Uedare, which is basically my high school hero, like childhood hero with the video game. So that's definitely a big thing. But in terms of kind of composing something that's kind of what do you call it? Because I'm kind of like an experimental person. Like it's so when I play classical music, I usually don't play the usual Bach, Beethoven, Brahms kind of thing, but I usually go for like Yoshimatsu, Schnitke, Schomburg, Sarthus. It's the 20th century modern contemporary composers. So I like to have a little bit of a twist in my music, and I think the Catharsis, which is a interactive art gallery action adventure game, is of course very arty. It's a little bit twisted here and there. So in terms of that, I think that is very different to Godchild, and it's in a way it's closer to my usual output. I think the Catharsis one. And then the other steampunk one is orchestral with machine sound. So orchestral is, I've been having orchestral education for a long time. So that's also a little bit easier in a way. So Godchild is very different, but it's also very challenging for me. And it's also very fun. So all of them have, different, different characters for it.
Can you talk about what it's been like collaborating with other people?
Like Godchild, probably the main, yeah. So in terms of the composers, so Noriyuki Wadare, and then guest composers, Michiko Naruke, um, Kumi Tanioka, who did the Wild Arms 3 series and the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles series. That it kind of puts a little bit of pressure because I don't want to let them down. And also at the same time, you don't want people to go, oh, Iwadare-san's music amazing, who's this random guy? Oh, he's letting the whole soundtrack down. So you don't, you know, that's the worst thing. It's like, oh, it's an amazing soundtrack. No, what's this one? Oh, it's because of the random New Zealand dude, making this music. So that's the worst thing, right? But the best thing would be listening to the others' music and then going, oh, this one's nice. Oh, who's this guy? Oh, it's okay. His music's actually pretty good. So there's a bit of the same a bit of different thing, like a good thing and a bad thing. And yeah, with collaborating with them, I want to see if I can be on that side of people going, oh, that's this dude is actually quite good, even with the other people's, of course, the legends. So just working hard, it makes me work harder in a way.
Well, I'm sure the video game developers and designers have their own guidance they give you. Do you find yourself getting pushed out of your comfort zone a lot?
Yes, depending on the game, yes. Yeah, I think the Godshot definitely is pushing me out of my boundaries. Really thinking about what they want, what the director wants. So in a way, it's more professional. I think my approach, and in Godchild. Whereas some of the other ones, I might be like, okay, I want to make it like this. Let's just go full on, just like what I want to do, and then it goes a little bit crazy. And then I had to hold back a little bit. But for Godchild, yeah, I'm really thinking about how people perceive music, and you know, what people liked in a different game, what people didn't like, what stuck to people, what didn't stick to people, what instrument put together makes this kind of emotion. All of that. I'm thinking more a lot on the Godchild Chronicle.
With the Godshard Chronicles and the collaborating, can you elaborate on how you're splitting up and sharing the responsibilities of collaborating?
For the music?
Yeah.
Oh, Godchild Chronicles. I think so we talk with the director, and then I think he kind of basically chooses which pieces, who composes which pieces, and then he talks to me, and then I'm like, okay, I want to do this one, or I've already started on this one, and then choose which pieces to do. But I think in general we've decided that the main theme, the character theme, things like that, the songs, then the big composers compose that for us, and then using those melodic elements, rhythmic elements, I try to put that in me, and then make the like field themes, battle themes, town themes. So those surrounding music, I will be making it, and then they will construct the main melodies and then the core elements of the music of the game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're kind of owning the whole track from top to bottom as separate tracks rather than like starting a track and then sharing it and building together on the same track.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Um, are you using virtual instruments or do you have real musicians that perform?
The real instruments are just me at the moment. Just me at the moment. And Iwado's son, sometimes he plays ocarina and like guitar and everything. So he lends some of his skills to some of the music. But for my side, I think it's mostly virtual instruments at the moment. But we'll see how it goes. We're still composing quite a lot of music. So, and as the development goes, we may include more live instruments.
You mentioned piano and violin. Do you play other instruments too?
No, in fact, piano, I started with piano, but then I switched to violin in 1 year. So basically, I don't play piano. So just violin, just violin. Yeah.
With your formal education, how much of that do you have, and how valuable did you find that for the composing that you're doing now?
Oh, I think it was really valuable. I mean, I didn't study composing, but all of the output that I'm giving, I noticed that it's everything is you know connected to what I studied in university and then beforehand with from the teachers and things like that. And of course, starting out as a composer and starting out as a performer, then composing music. The goal is the same thing, but like the process is different. So the mindset is also could be a little bit different. So like for me, because I was a performer for many years, so the how I compose would be more of a performer perspective, um, and how it would sound, or like how a performer would like to perform this, if it was actually performed live, or something that performer would want to play it. So what they would feel as well. So especially like with the battle music, I kind of think how like a band would come together and they would rehearse. It's like, oh, okay, you come in here after this, this note, and then when the drum comes in, then you have to come in like two beats after. Like that's kind of in my mind when I compose music like that. So I think that really came from doing chamber music in university, which is smaller ensembles like piano, violin, cello, violin, viola, cello, something like that. And it's like a band basically in classical music. And I think that really connects to how I compose my music.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense how you can bring some really valuable experience there that other people who haven't performed definitely don't have.
And you played violin too, right?
I did, yeah. I still have a Fender electric violin here.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, it was more middle school and high school. So I played a little bit of classical guitar in university, but yeah, not like a professional performer by any means. Um, you want to tell me about your composition process? Do you have kind of a step that you follow, or is every song a little different?
Yeah, I think it's quite different for every song. I think usually because I go on walks in the morning, every morning, and usually when I'm walking, then that's when I think of up something. Like could be just a rhythm or like could be like a texture kind of thing. And then while I'm walking, then I keep playing that in my mind, like so that I don't forget. And then I fast walk home, and then I type it right in. So if I don't think about it, the walk is going to be longer. So I'll go for a longer walk. But so if I think of it really early on in the walk, then I go straight back, and then I write it. So I think that's how it starts. Um, but in terms of once I get to the desk, some people will start with harmony, some people start with rhythm, some people start with melody. I think I start with rhythm usually, rhythm ideas. I think a lot of my original music and then some of my uh, soundtrack stuff as well. The rhythm is a little bit unusual in a way. It's usually not the same time signature all the time. And I think, yeah, I come up with something interesting with the rhythm first. And then I come up with chords, and then melody kind of comes last, I think.
Now, are you sitting down with notation software? Are you playing on your instrument? Are you going straight into a DAW? What's that step like?
Yeah, that's also depends on the music. But if it's like a violin um, music, then I would go straight into violin, and that will be like a melody start, because violin's like a melodic instrument. But I think the most common will be just going into Logic and go straight into Logic with a keyboard and a drum. Those two things. Um, yeah, and then I think the Sibelius or musical those sheet music stuff, it comes a little bit later. Once I get a whole picture, then I'll export it into Sibelius, and then I'll edit it so that it's playable, kind of thing.
So you are creating sheet music
Yeah,
for
yeah.
all the tracks,
If it needs to be played, yeah, if it needs to be played.
but the final export you're doing is just it's from your DAW
Yes,
and
yes.
you're exporting the okay. What kind of hardware do you use? You mentioned Logic, so I'm assuming you got a MacBook. How about your MIDI controllers and instruments?
So because I don't have really much input with the composing and stuff like that, so I'm just kind of doing my thing. So the only thing I have is this Mac, and the keyboard, and what is it? I don't even know what it's called. Like, it just connects out of the computer, and then you plug like a mic into it. What's that? Audio interface.
Yes, yes.
That's all I have. So
And
my is very simple.
you say keyboard, you mean a
Mm.
MIDI keyboard or
Yes.
your
MIDI
okay.
key. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very simple. So you're just using a microphone for either your instrument
Yes.
or okay.
Very minimalistic. So, I mean, going on, I would like to get into more stuff, but at the moment, it's very, very, very simple.
With your violin, I'm sure you have to practice a lot for your performances and you have some kind of practice routine. Do you have anything like that on the composition side, like exercises or continued learning that you do?
There's no specific exercise, but when I started off composing in 2022-ish, I knew that I was really behind, right? If I wanted to, catch up. with the current composers who are also doing indie games. And so I decided that I'll at least do 8 hours a day, every day, until I feel like I can do something about it. So um, these days it's downsized a little bit because I'm doing more performance again. But until maybe end of last year, I tried to maintain 6 to 8 hours every single day. Unless it's like my birthday or something, then I'll then I can't do it. Or I'm on the flight somewhere or something, I can't do it. But whenever I can, I try to maintain some sort of composing going on all the time.
Is most of your stuff orchestral, or do you mess around with the synthesizers at all?
So yeah, I would like to, but because orchestral it's quite natural for me, so it is quite difficult with the more electronic stuff. But I've been trying to experiment more with the electronic stuff, so I can kind of mix it together.
Serum 2 just came out, apparently. With if you ever
All
interested
right,
in one,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
a good
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Is it how hard is that? Like how hard is it to get into those things?
Synthesize, well, not too difficult because there's some fundamentals that are applicable across all the different synthesizers, and then it's just about the modulation. Once you get the key ideas, then you kind of understand most of the synthesizers. So um, yeah, if you ever want to talk more about that stuff, love talking about that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, sure, yeah.
um you're doing mostly video game composition now. Do you have a desire to do other mediums like film?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think I'm really interested in doing like short films. Yeah, I really want to get into that, but I don't know anyone, and it's hard to. I've never been in the industry, so it's a little bit hard. But in the future, I would like to do.
Yeah, it's hard to find work. It's you've done really well so far. That kind of leads into my next question, which is networking and marketing. Besides social media, are you actively and intentionally doing any other networking or marketing?
In terms of composition, because I wasn't majoring in it for a while, that was kind of like on the learning process for me. So I wasn't advertising, but it's only when you contacted me, was it last week or this week, or it's really from there I started to market a little bit. So that is I'm very new into that marketing aspect.
So how about your performance and your teaching side? How do you do it on that side? Do you do marketing, or how do you find work there?
Mm. So for teaching, I think it's quite a bit of connection things happening. So like if you teach one person, then that person's friend might be interested, or that friend's friend will be interested. It just kind of spreads. So if you start to teach one person, it actually kind of expands quite fast, especially in the Asian community because they're very connected. So if you do good teaching to that one student, then it connects. And then maybe if I have three students, then they'll branch into, a double and then double, 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 and it just keeps going. So teaching it, you actually don't have to advertise that much. As for performance, yeah, we just the regular, concert advertisement, like on the website or like on Facebook or like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, that kind of thing. And then I also tell my students another thing. Students, it's the same thing. They're going to talk to other people, and it just keeps going, keep going, going, going. And then that gets automatically advertised in a way for people who are interested, and then you do the concert.
Have you considered, or are you looking for any kind of agent to help with the work?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it. So, so before I was going full time composing, since 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, because I was busy doing a performance and teaching, so I didn't want too much work coming in. Otherwise, I couldn't. do all of it. And I just wanted to do whatever I wanted to compose. That's basically what I wanted to do back then. But since I'm trying to make it more of a full-time career, I might have to like think about that that aspect as well.
Are you familiar with the PRO organizations? Do you belong to any of those?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
I think that's probably more relevant for film
Ah,
and movies. I think
right.
you have to belong to one of those organizations to get your credits, and they manage the royalties for the
Yes.
movies that are watched.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for anybody else who's just trying to start out as a composer?
I think the simplest thing is just do it. I think that's the thing. Just don't think just go for it. Because we all have different, musical tastes and abilities, natural abilities, and then ability to progress. We're all different. Progress speed is different. Progress direction is different. So you never know what happens until you actually start it. So I just say just start it, and then keep looking through social media um, to see if there's anything, if anyone who are interested, anything that you are interested, and maybe just like I did, you just write whatever music for a video and then just send it to them. Just make sure that it's not something they would be annoyed. So you have to think about something that they would be happy, uh, and something that would also stand out. Because if you send something that's that might they might be like, oh, I've seen someone do this a million times, then it might not be a good thing. So yeah, just be very friendly, not too, yeah, not too arrogant. Be friendly. You're just making friends, and then yeah. I think that's just do it, and then keep writing music, send it to people. I think that's what you could do, I guess.
How about from a study aspect? Is there any area of study or topic that you think might be a good starting place?
Into composing.
Composing or performing?
Mm, um, composing, I don't know, because I just need to do, because I had music education before, but um, I'd say starting with piano is always a good thing. Yeah, I think piano because you learn chords, chord progression. That's also good for your, harmony, melody, and like that. And you learn rhythm, harmony, and melody at the same time. Really, really good. Like violin melody, hardly, rhythm sometimes. Hardly chords are very limited with the violin compared to piano. And also there's intonation with the violin. So that's very annoying when you start right on intonation. You don't know what C sounds, and you're like, "What's C?" And you go, it's a little bit too high," and your teacher tells me off. Tells you off. So yeah, I reckon start with piano. Could be an online lesson, anything. It's best if you learn from a teacher, but online lesson. I think the best thing is to just start with the piano, and then once you have the basics with the scales and everything like that, you can start to jam a little bit and see what you can make on. Could be like a free composing software. Just start off like that. I think that would be the best thing.
Makes sense. Well, I'll share your social links and your website here. Is there anywhere else you want people to go to either contact you or find your work?
Oh, yeah, thanks so much. Just Instagram, Twitter, and my website, shaunoisomura.com. I think you can find what I've been working on there. So those three would be great.
Well, Shauno, thank you for your time. It's been really insightful and great talking to you.
Yeah,
And
thank you so much.
good luck with your projects. And we'll keep in touch and you can check in later and see how you're doing.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much.